Recently, the topic of record heat and fossil fuel use has been of significant interest. This week, the International Energy Agency released their annual Global Energy Review 2025. Let's have a look at the major highlights of the report. 2024 was the hottest year on record, with global average temperatures exceeding 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial levels for the first time ever. This extreme heat, especially in densely populated regions like China, India, and the United States, triggered a sharp rise in the use of air conditioning and other cooling technologies. The report noted that this spike in electricity demand was closely tied to the record-breaking temperatures. And no surprises, the cooling needs accounted for a significant portion of this energy surge. For instance, in China and India, two of the world's largest electricity markets, severe heat waves pushed coal and gas consumption to new highs as China and India leaned on the fossil fuels to meet the sudden demand that the renewable sources could not fully cover. This leads us to a troubling feedback loop. As the planet warms due to greenhouse gas emissions, the need for cooling increases. As the need for cooling increases, there is a demand for electricity that is met with fossil fuels like coal and natural gas. And this results in even more emissions. Specifically, the use of coal increased by about 1% globally in 2024, reaching a record level. And China burnt 40% more coal than the rest of the world combined. This increase in coal usage was largely attributed to the extreme temperatures, as renewables like solar and wind, although growing, could not scale up fast enough to handle the sudden spikes in demand during the heat waves. Natural gas emissions also climbed by roughly 2.5%, making it a key contributor to the overall emissions growth. However, the picture is not entirely bleak. The International Energy Agency emphasized that clean energy technologies such as solar, wind, and nuclear offset what could have been a 7% higher emissions in 2024. Despite this, global energy-related carbon dioxide emissions still hit an all-time high of 37.8 gigatons, an increase of 0.8% from the previous year, that is 2023. The report suggests that without the extreme weather, the rise in emissions would have been half. This highlights how climate-driven heat is amplifying our resilience on the fossil fuels. The critics of the narrative, which includes some climate skeptics, they argue that the focus on cooling-related fossil fuel use overlooks a broader energy trends. They point out that as the planet warms, the projected decrease in energy demand for heating, which would come from the colder regions, could outweigh the increase for cooling by a factor of 5. This suggests that net energy demand might not rise as dramatically as some reports imply, although this perspective does not negate the immediate emission spike from fossil fuels during these heat waves. This vicious circle poses a challenge to global climate goals. Although renewable energy is expanding, China added more renewables than the rest of the world combined in 2023, but the pace of growth is not yet sufficient to displace fossil fuels during peak demand periods. The situation underscores an urgency to scale up clean energy infrastructure and improve energy efficiency, particularly in the cooling technologies. This can help us break the link between extreme heat and our dependency on the fossil fuels. That's it for today. See you next time. Bye.